Hello, my name is Linda, also known as Torta Jala around the internet, and I love creative journaling and all things stationery. So today I'm sharing the whole process of unboxing and setting up my new Love and Trip Traveler's Notebooks. I actually bought the standard and passport sizes. So I'm just going to do a quick unboxing because I'm sure you've seen it already and know all the details. But more interesting is to compare the shade of the red color between all of my traveler's notebooks and also between the standard and the passport sizes. I also bought some accordion inserts in both sizes that I will be using in these TNs and started to set them up. So I'm going to talk through that and show you the whole process. So I'll go into detail about that a bit later. I will also include timestamps below if you want to skip around because I know this is going to be a very long and chatty video, but I hit record on everything because I was so excited to dive back into my traveler's notebooks. I've actually been pretty good at keeping up at uh, updating my many inserts, but I don't always share them because there's a lot going on and it's just really being done in the background. Plus, when I do memory keeping, I rarely share because there are so many people in the photos. Sometimes it's hard to censor if it's not just my immediate family and, I don't have permission to share like all of that stuff. But let's get into the story of these Love and Trip Red Traveler's Notebooks. This year, Traveler's Company announced they would release these limited edition red colored Traveler's Notebooks for the theme of Love and Trip. And they usually do this every year. They release something special in April. So when it was announced, I was definitely enticed by the color, and I was pretty confident that it would be like the darker, like burgundy kind of red, because that just matches the whole aesthetic of Traveler's Notebook and their line of covers that they already have. They're more towards, like natural, earthy kind of colors. So even though I knew that I wanted them, I didn't pre order and I thought that there was no rush. I could get it at the end of summer because they always restock in August, and there are a couple different shops in the EU that I buy from, so I was sort of confident I would be able to get it later. And at the time, I was so into like my fountain pens and playing with inks that my TNs were sort of like off to the side, so I wasn't in a rush to get the covers. So, like a month or more went by, and when the launch actually happened on April 24th, everyone started showing off their covers, right? And so there was definite FOMO at this point for me, even though I knew I was going to buy them later. I started low key like worrying because it was selling out everywhere and people seem to like this cover a lot. So I think that more people wanted to buy them even if they weren't considering getting them beforehand. And I noticed that many of the shops that I buy from, they were taking pre-orders for the August restock. And quite honestly, I'm just not like into pre-ordering things these days, just the waiting. I don't know. I'm still waiting for my Coffee Monsters Co. Esterbrook SD right now, so I don't know. I was just not in the mood to do pre-orders in general. And so my worry was that if shops were already taking pre-orders for the August release that are so many months away, like they could, sell out just in the pre-orders before you even get to August, and then there wouldn't be like any more in stock to get. And, it could be a challenge and you just don't know what's going to happen. And it does seem like these covers are really popular right now, like compared to last year, right? Like last year, the Tokyo edition was the special release in April, but I can still buy it right now. So obviously, there's still stock left. I don't know. So I caved and I found the red TNs in stock and ready to ship in a couple EU shops, and there was actually a sale going on. I had like a coupon code, so I actually got all my TNs discounted, which was a definite plus. I was, I had it like in my cart and I was like, should I do it or not? Should I get it or not? Or should I wait till August? And over the weekend, like the stock numbers kept going down, and I was like, okay, why am I going to wait if I know I'm going to buy these covers anyways, and now they're discounted, right? So yeah, I ordered both and some accessories here and there since it was a sale. If you're interested in the shops that stock Travelers Company in Europe, besides like many of the big shops you might have already heard of. I'll leave the links down in the comments below. I bought from saypaper dot eat, which is in Italy, and Papeterie Macuro, which is in France. So I unboxed my standard size red TN, and that's the first one that I received. And I'm just going to compare with my other TNs that I already have so you can see the color differences. And the texture of the leather is definitely different from like any of the other ones that I own. The red tan, I mean, it's definitely burgundy to me. I don't know if I would call it red. I would say burgundy or like wine or something. Um, because if you think about the other companies that make travelers notebooks and leather products, like Louise Carmen and Paper Republic, their red is like bright red. So this is completely like a different color tone completely. Um, so I really like the burgundy color, and I think that it sort of matches like all the other colors in the Traveler's Notebook line much more. If they had like a super bright red, I think it would be like it just wouldn't match all the other colors that they have that are very like earthy and almost like muted, right? I know some people were worried that they were going to get like a super bright red, or they were worried that they would get something that would look too brown. And I think it's because the olive special edition, and now that it's part of the regular line, many people think the olive looks like too close to being brown. Um, so maybe some people are really worried about the color, but this burgundy or what they call the red TN, it's completely different. Like to me, I don't know how you could mistake it for being brown. Granted, I don't have a brown TN, but to me, you can definitely see the red shining through, even though it is a darker burgundy. When you line up all the TNs, they look so good together. I feel like they match, like all the shades. That have been chosen to be like part of the line, even if there are variations like batch to batch, because that is how leather is. I think that the colors are just really nice and gorgeous together. And I will definitely show you later on when I unbox my passport, and you'll notice that it isn't like so off, you know what I mean, in terms of the variation. Anyways, the burgundy color, it's like lush to me. It makes me think of wine as well. But one thing I did notice is that I've handled the TNs for quite some time now, and the red covers, I really do think that they scratch up way easier. So I don't know if it's the texture or if it's the color that makes it more noticeable when you scratch it, but you can definitely see it more. And I think it's probably because the texture of the leather is not the same. Like it's not glossy like my black TN, but it's not furry like my camel. It's like somewhere in the middle. But you can rub the scratches and it sort of melds back in. So I think that over time it's probably going to patina really nicely. And my standard TN actually already had scratches in the front, so I don't know. Sometimes I just give my TNs to my kids to handle to get over the fact that obviously they're not going to be pristine. They're meant to be like mixed up. So, anyways, I'm really happy with my standard TN cover, and now I'm gonna unbox the passport. And I bought it from the Papeterie Macuro shop in France, and I also bought some other things because there was that 20% off. So I picked up the Tokyo pencil. I don't really like brass items, so I usually wouldn't buy like the Travelers Company, pencil pen kind of stuff. But when they have a version that is coated, I like it a lot more. And then the red Passport TN, I'm going to dig into this because I think what everybody is curious about is the color and how it compares. So when I compare my standard red and my Passport TN red, you can definitely see that they're not the same. But the difference in red color is not so drastic. I really think that there's just a very slight difference. And obviously, you notice because you're putting like one side by side, right? The passport to me shows up a little bit more red. Like it sort of shines through a little bit more red, like there's like a gradient. But I would still say that they're both like burgundy. They're both so, like dark wine red to me, not like bright red. And again, I think it's because in the Travelers Company lineup, they just have these like classic colors, right? Like black, brown, blue, camel, olive, and now red. But red is special edition, so we don't know if they're going to add it to the standard lineup. But if you buy the special release, of course, you get the special screen printed cotton bags, and the back of the cover has the Love and Trip like wording embossed on it. So, of course, it will be significantly different and also like labeled. Um, mm, Even if they add like red to the standard line. But I feel like the way that they've been doing things, they usually don't do it that fast, right? Even if they were to add a new color to the standard lineup, it seems like it always takes like a couple years after the special release before that would happen. Um, yeah, so from this same shop, I also bought some other accessories. And again, it's because there was like the discount and everything. And I was like, oh, let me look at what else they have. And so that's why I picked up so many things. But I'm just showing you here the difference in color. You could definitely see. And sometimes it depends like on the lighting, like when it hits it. But definitely the Passport has that like little bit more of a reddish, almost like reddish orange show through. And my Standard is definitely darker. And of course, if you condition these, they're probably going to get dark, dark. So it's all up to your preference. And by the way, I saw someone, now I cannot remember the name, but on Instagram, they actually like burnished or carved in. I'm not exactly sure how they did this, but they like marked into their cover so that it would show the light red more and made like a whole embossed design. So I'm sure you could do a lot if you wanted to. But yeah, while I was in the shop, I bought some of the other accessories, some like rub-on, like gold rub-ons. I thought I was going to use the gold rub-ons like on the cover itself, but then I changed my mind. I don't think I want to do that because I think they rub off very easily if I were to put it on the leather. But what I did pick up that I'm super excited about is the Kaweco Sport in the Bordeaux color. And I've actually had this on my list for a while, but because it's a classic standard color pen from Kaweco, so it's never going to run out. You can always buy it. So again, because there was that 20% off, I was like, okay, now's a good time to pick it up. Also because the Bordeaux, I think, matches so amazingly well with these red TNs. I can be really matchy-matchy like I like to do, right? So don't you think they go together so nicely? I just couldn't pass up the deal. Plus, it's fountain pen, so like I could, indulge in different hobbies at the same time. But yeah, I'm definitely going to ink this up and start writing with it just so that I could like break into it, so to speak, and then use it obviously with my TNs here because they just match so nicely. Obviously, it would go the best with the Passport TN simply because the Passport TN is like compact and the Kaweco Sport is also a pocket pen, so it would like work nicely there. The other Kaweco that I have is the special edition, like dark olive or something like that. So yeah, you can tell like the colors that I normally like. I also like gold trim. So those are the two that have like gold trim as well. But yeah, you can see the colors um, of the covers and compare. You can see them right next to each other, and I think that they look very similar. I feel like Traveler's Company did a good job in that there isn't like a crazy variation. Yes, some are lighter, some are darker, but I still feel like they all read as burgundy. Um, so they're close enough in shade, you know what I mean? Definitely they don't look brown to me. So if that was your fear, I don't think you have to worry about that. So oddly enough, the brown leather cover is the only one that I don't have. So hopefully at some point I will get that. But here's another look at all of the covers together. So you can see blue, camel, the red, and then the black. Like those are the ones that I have anyway. Do let me know down in the comments if you're planning to get these red TNs or if you already have it. I would definitely like to check out your video if you have an unboxing and just to hear your thoughts because I'm totally loving my TNs for sure. So now I'm going to show you my proper process of prepping my standard size accordion insert for my new standard size red TN. When this insert was released, like years ago, I think, as part of the B-sides and rarities, I was intrigued, but I didn't really know what to use it for, and I never really got it. And I don't know why, but suddenly this time around, with the red TN release, I just came up with this idea and I had the urge to get the accordion insert for both the standard and passport sizes. I realized that these accordion inserts, they have 12 pages, like 12 sides. So it's sort of exactly perfect for like monthly roundups or monthly entries. Like you could take a year and like a whole year to fill out one accordion insert, and it would be like that yearly compilation of something, whatever the theme might be. Obviously, it could be straight up memory keeping, but you would have to pick like some kind of highlight or something like that because you only have one page for that month. But you could get something more specific or something different that would maybe be easier to do like on a monthly basis. It could be like your favorite meal, your favorite song, favorite book, or maybe just a highlight to focus on because you only have like that one panel to fill up. Um, because you probably wouldn't be able to record every single memory from an entire month because there isn't that much room. But I was thinking of some kind of monthly highlight or joy moment or what some people call like glimmer or something like that. But it could be something really mundane too, like your current like currently kind of stuff like meals or something your kids said or some kind of life milestone or funny quotes or some kind of list or something. I keep thinking about currently because a lot of people who do the currently sort of list type um, thing in their memory keeping, it's because you're really capturing what is usually like just mundane details that you wouldn't necessarily like put in your scrapbooks and stuff because it's like so normal. You know what I mean? But there are so many options. Like the idea is that you just have these like monthly check-ins, right? There's a monthly box to fill in so that at the end of the year you have this summary, and it's just so cool to see it all together. I mean, this is what I am thinking in my mind, anyways. So, this all really stems from the fact that this whole year, and maybe even for months before that, like for a while now, I've always been like sort of obsessed with memory keeping in terms of how to encapsulate the passing of time in a way that makes me feel better. Um, I don't know, to have it to be easy to reference back and see an overview of what happened. And it sort of all goes back to my anxieties and worries and sort of this like low key, I don't know how to describe it, like hum of a feeling of anxiety and anxiousness because time is passing by so quickly. My kids are growing up so quickly, like week to week, month to month. Suddenly we're like in Q2 and even if we're doing journaling and documentation, it's like you don't remember the details and you don't know all the things that happened. And definitely, it's so much easier to have that negativity bias where you're thinking of like all the things that went wrong rather than all the things that you maybe did accomplish and, should be commended kind of thing. And I don't know, I just have this feeling of like time is passing by so fast and my memory is bad or getting worse. And I just have this feeling like, oh my God, I don't even know what happened and it's just passing me by. And I don't know how to. I mean, obviously, you can't hold on to it. Time is going to keep going, but like, I don't know how to feel better about it. And yeah, I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense here, but those are like the crazy feelings that I've been just grappling with for like a long time now. And I don't know if I sound like a teenager with like angst of the world and growing up or something, because I'm not a teenager, but it's just been this thing that's on my mind. And it's definitely affected the way that I've been journaling and documenting all of these months. I have so many different documentation projects going on besides my usual like memory keeping that I've been doing for years and years, that is more like a scrapbook for my kids and stuff. But a lot of the other projects and things that I have going on are really about like capturing the days, capturing the weeks, the months, like because I feel like they're flying by so quickly. And, I don't want to let them go. And I want to somehow like document or encapsulate them so that I can look back and feel better and feel like I can understand like that time period. In my personal ring binder, I actually have like a 5-year tracker. It's like a really simple table, but basically it's like I put a dot sticker for every month that passes. And it's like sort of weird, but at the same time, it really puts things in perspective because every single month you see like visually how time is passing like each month and how it relates to that 5-year time frame, the bigger perspective, right? And obviously you could do it for more years if you wanted to really see, especially if you're like reaching a certain milestone or something like that, right? I also have another section where I have a weekly phrase or sentence kind of thing, and it's because I'm trying to capture something weekly. That way, at the end of the year, you see these like 52 lines and you see it all together to sort of figure out, like, at the end of year, what does that mean to me? Is it, helpful in some way? Again, I don't know if all of these different efforts are going to be long lasting or if they're going to make a difference, but I'm definitely trying. Like, I also have my monthly bullet journal where I do like the highlights and it's more like decorated and like art journal kind of page. So I'll have like those 12 or 24 pages that I can flip through. So I can see myself now, like looking at all the things that I have around me, like all my projects. It's me grasping and like trying to hold on to like the memories, the time, and these two new accordion inserts that I'm setting up right now, it's really the same thing. It's just like another way that I'm experimenting with how to encapsulate like the year in one like little book that is easy to digest. And yeah, that's the feeling that is ultimately driving me to do this like these inserts. So for this standard size insert, I'm basically creating like the whole background base like template kind of thing. Um, I'm using my stamps. I'm labeling each month with numbers, and I'm gonna like do a little bit of like collage deco as well, using the same elements and like the papers, the washi, that kind of thing, throughout the entire accordion insert, because doing that is going to make it look really cohesive throughout, even if every entry will be separate and done at a different time. Although obviously I have to catch up because we are already months into 2025. But at one point, I was stamping the all the numbers on some just scrap craft paper, and I'm just going to glue them on like on each panel on each page. I did realize that I forgot to alternate the months on the craft paper. Like I was putting 1 month on top and then 1 month on the bottom just to make it so that it's like spread out a little bit when you open up the accordion. But I messed up on one of them and just put like two on top next to each other. It's not really a big deal, but it's funny how even when you're doing something like this, like that seems so simple, you can still make a mistake, so to speak. But that's just how it goes. Just go with the flow. So this accordion insert, standard size and passport size, they both have 12 pages or sides, right? When you open up all of the accordion pages, there's like 6 on one side and then you turn it around and 6 on the other side. So you can also use the inside front cover as like an open introductory kind of area. And the final page is actually like glued, like partially glued onto the back cover. So it's like a little weird, but you could also use that extra space as like a conclusion or closing element. But basically, you have like 12 spots, right? So I feel like that's like perfect for like a year long or year overview kind of thing, a monthly check in. And of course, I have chosen um, to do this in the standard size for this particular project of like that is going to be more like memory keeping. But of course, you can go smaller because you can use the passport. I am going to use the passport as well, but for something very different. But basically, it's the same because they both have 12 pages. It's just a different format. Um, and for the standard size, I am doing more of the scrapbooky kind of like collage and embellishment clusters with washi tapes and stickers. And I'm, making it pretty minimal right now because obviously when I actually add entries in, I could always like decorate more, but I just wanted like a baseline to one, make it so that the whole accordion is like cohesive because I'm using the same like tools, elements, stickers, like that kind of thing. So I'm stamping the month numbers on like scrap craft paper and then using that as the heading for the month on each page. And then I'm going to use strips of like Coffee Monster co-washi tape as well as Salam Creative coffee washi tape to decorate, and I'll add some other like stickers from the Matter Modern Analog as well, and just making that like the template baseline kind of thing, sort of like a skeleton that I will work on top of. And of course, I'm using these stamps that I think I've shown before, but I got these alphabet and number stamps from AliExpress, so I don't know what the brand name is. It's like a no brand kind of thing. But I know that there are, I don't remember the name again, but like the Japanese, like famous ones, those are the ones that are probably really popular that you see all over social media and stuff, but they always sell out and they're really, really expensive and they're hard to find. So that's why I had just got these from AliExpress, which work perfectly fine. I think that the letters are actually better than the numbers. Like the letters, they connect to each other, even though I only have one set of the alphabet. So obviously, if there are repeat letters, you're not going to be able to connect it. But I feel like they stamp really well and I don't get like the edges of the rubber very much. Whereas the numbers, somehow the rubber is just like a little wonky. So I always get like the marks, you know what I mean? Like the what do you call them? Like the edges. But I guess that's not horrible. I mean, it sort of gives it like the look, like the stamped image look. So if you like sort of the grungy thing, then I guess that it actually works out. So I'm basically going to have this whole accordion set up and ready to be like added to. I have used the inside of the front cover um, to write year in review. That's sort of like my title kind of thing. I don't even know if that necessarily will make sense because it in review. I don't know, but that's what I ended up stamping. And then I have one page per month, and it basically takes up the whole accordion insert. And because the final page, like I said, is glued onto the back cover, you actually technically have like an extra page. But I think that's fine because December is usually very busy and lots of stuff going on, holidays and things. So maybe a full spread for December might actually work better. Um, by the way, one thing that I noticed that I think is really interesting is that accordion inserts, the way that it is folded and then put into a paper cover for these traveler's notebook inserts, it means that when you first open up, you actually see um, 7 or like July, like basically the second part of the halfway point, right? I wonder, is that weird because you're like considering when you open an insert to see like the first thing, but obviously it's like ordered in this way because of the way that the accordion paper is like folded into the insert. I don't know. But when I saw that and I started thinking about that, it made me consider other ideas for when you're using an accordion insert. Because I was just thinking very linearly. So I was thinking, okay, 12 spaces, 12 months, just like do it in order kind of thing. But of course, you could do a project where you could add entries to your accordion insert, but in a totally random way. Like you just know that you have a certain amount of space per month if you want to fill up the accordion insert in a year, right? So technically, you could just go in randomly and fill in any spot that you want as long as you sort of use up like a certain amount of space so that when you get to the end of the year, it like fills everything up, right? I thought that would be such an interesting project as well. It might not work very well for like, you know, um, chronological stuff like memory keeping, but it could work really well for other types of like projects or themes or like sort of like junk journaling or like how people collect fruit stickers and stuff. Like that doesn't really matter like the order, right? Like you're just adding them all over the place. Or even if you're doing like a doodle a day or a doodle a week. Um you could do it in order, but you could just like roughly know how much space that you're going to take and just like add it in and just like keep adding to the accordion insert until at the end of the year you have it like completely full. So it could be daily or weekly or monthly. Obviously monthly is easy because you have like the whole panel you need to fill in, but for any kind of theme or project, um that doesn't need to be necessarily in order. You could just freely work in the accordion insert. Also, if you're like an art journaler or creative journaling kind of person, sometimes people just work on things back and forth, like on different pages. Like they're working on the whole accordion insert over and over again, like in layers and adding elements over time. So I think that could be really fun too, for something that you have like in progress for the entire year. It's like sort of a cool idea. I really like it. Um, as long as you just know like how much space you're supposed to spend or how much you're supposed to add to it so that you know that at the end of the year it'll be filled up kind of thing. It's obviously way less commitment, right, to do an accordion insert like this with like 12 pages than to have to do like a 365 page bound notebook, right, to fill up in a year. It's just 12 panels, really just a monthly marker for your time frame. And I'm really starting to feel like the monthly time frame is like perfect, because it's not so much time that like too much has happened and you can't like get a hold of like what to add as an entry, but it isn't so often that you can't keep up kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I suppose it depends on your life. Maybe like a gajillion things are happening, so like a month is way too long because you wouldn't be able to document it. But I think that daily mostly is always the hardest because there are bound to be sick days and stuff like that. So you're not going to be able to make like every single entry every single day. When it comes to a daily practice, you're going to have to make up some of those sick days kind of thing. I think that's why it's better to call it like the almost daily practice, sort of like what Hobonichi talks about in their planners. But I understand that there's a convenience in having like things dated, it's ready to go, but you don't necessarily have to fill it in completely if you don't want to. But yeah, that's like other thoughts. But I would really be interested in hearing your thoughts. Like, what do you think about my obsession or fixation on this like time thing and memory keeping and documenting and not being able to let go or feel at ease for the passing of time kind of thing? I don't know. In all different themes, um like, it doesn't necessarily have to be scrapbooking family memories. Like, for me, yes, family memories is a big thing, and I already do that, but I think it's, like, all the other stuff too. You know what I mean? Like, the little things, the mundane things, the details, like, it's hard to capture it all and be able to have it in a thing that is, like, easily digestible, I guess is what I mean. Um, and all of, like, these thoughts and ponderings and things just stems from my anxieties and worries, trying to like work through it all. And I guess I'm using my hands, I'm creating things, I'm making things, doing things to try to work through all of these thoughts and feelings. Yeah, I would love it if you share your thoughts in the comments. I wonder what others feel and think for sure. So for this standard insert, I'm thinking it will be some specific monthly documentation that has to do with all those other maybe seemingly mundane things that we often don't memory keep. The kind of stuff that doesn't go into like my normal scrapbooking kind of memory keeping, because usually I'm documenting big events, holidays, kids' birthdays, events, trips, like just more of the bigger highlight kind of things. But that means that we're missing all of those little everyday small things that honestly I feel like, they make you smile. They make you laugh a lot. Like, especially if you have little kids, they're changing and growing really fast. And sometimes there's like just really random, like little things that are probably worth documenting, but somehow you don't because it's like not that event milestone kind of thing, if that makes sense. Maybe people who do daily journaling do end up documenting more of these things. I don't know. But I do find that we forget all of these smaller details, even though they probably make up more like time, you know what I mean, in the year, as compared to like just that one day that was a birthday. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, I still have to like flesh this out a little bit more in terms of how I'm using this standard sized accordion insert, but I was thinking about it so much, I didn't want to get stuck in how you get stuck in just the planning phase and thinking how you're going to do it instead of just actually doing it. So that's why I went ahead and just set everything up because I'm like, okay, don't Don't let yourself just be stuck. You know what I mean? Like paralyzed in that, like, oh, I need to plan what this is exactly going to be before actually doing it. So that's why I am just jumping in. Um, so that's what this accordion insert is going to be for. So right now I am putting my accordion insert into my new red TN because it's new and I want to use it. But I'm actually planning on taking this new red TN on vacation this summer. I'm traveling with my 3 kids back to California, so I already have it sort of set up with a bunch of stuff and just trying to work it out from now until when we leave. So I can put the accordion insert in here for now just to use it, but I know that I definitely have way too much stuff in here. It is a little bit too stuffed, but I want to have like a lot of pockets and stuff because when I'm traveling, I just collect a lot of stuff, so I need a place to put like all those things. But yeah, right now it's just like testing purposes, trialing it all. I definitely have too many writing utensils, I think. Maybe I should just put everything in a pencil case instead of having something here. But I like having, at least one writing utensil with the tea in itself when you want to like quickly, you know, jot something down. But yeah, this is how my standard red TN is looking for now, and I'm sure it'll change as time goes on. And now I'm going to tackle setting up my passport accordion insert. So I'm going to show you this whole process. I'm super excited about this. I'm really happy about how it turned out. So I'm going to use fountain pen inks here. So I'm using my Versamark ink and I'm going to emboss on the cover. So, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know that I'm into fountain pens and I bought so many inks recently, so I definitely want to use them. And I do use them because I do daily writing, just morning pages and stream of consciousness, but I also do daily creative doodling in my Midori Hibino, along with any other kind of like drawing and art creation and just playing around. So I decided that I wanted to use this passport accordion insert to do something creative um, and sort of work on my own confidence in art, I guess. Um, I don't know. It's like I'm already wavering right now, which is a little bit sad, but it's like the problem of having just like not very high confidence in things. And I find it hard to share sometimes because, there's always going to be people doing better. I mean, that's just the reality of life. Same old story. But yeah, I just feel very odd about it, especially at this point in life. The whole creative dream and pursuit in general, because I feel like I'm so old in the sense that I've been around sort of like trying to do the same thing for like more than 10 years because basically it's like before I had kids, when I moved to Italy and I was like, okay, I can try something else while I'm doing obviously still my freelance work and stuff, but there's time to do like a side hustle as many people have done, I'm sure. But time just flies and like I'm raising 3 kids and more than 10 years have passed and I've tried many things, I've done many things on the side, but it's always been just a side thing. And obviously because I'm not doing it full time because I am a mom first, and also doing freelance in general, but like the creative pursuits are still there, they're sort of like third in line. But yeah, I just feel like I'm old in the sense of like doing all these things, yet I'm still a beginner because I'm nowhere near like established or having met, certain creative goals. So it's just like really weird. Like you see other people who are like, okay, I'm starting this, and it's like year one, and how much they improve and, meet their goals and stuff in year two. And here I am like year 10 or something and still feeling like a beginner. So it's, yeah, it just feels really weird. And at the same time, I don't want to put myself down because, everybody has a different life situation and you don't have the same amount of time or energy to put into things. So it's not going to be the same. I realize that. But yeah, though, just to say, all of those thoughts is what made me want to do this accordion insert, just to do something really fun that makes me happy, basically, from a creative side of things, and sort of putting together multiple like hobby interests together. So for this accordion insert, I basically embossed the year 2025 on the front. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically like from my crafty scrapbooking days. I stamped 2025 using Versamark ink, which is like a really sticky ink. It's almost like glue or something, but basically you stamp it to get the image, and then you pour the embossing powder on top that sticks obviously to only where the sticky parts are, and then you melt it with a heat gun. I'm not really sure what, I guess it's like some kind of plastic or something that you're melting because it forms a layer on top that's like glossy, or there's also like colored powders and like glitter powders, like all different types. But basically, you melt it and it like sticks on. And so the cool thing about doing something like this is that you get the resist. So basically, I put 2025 there on the cover, and now I'm going to use some fountain pen ink to like make a blob on the front. But the 2025 is now going to be like really brilliant, like sticking out because it'll resist the ink color. So this is Sailor Ink 223, and I'm just going to use, I guess, some drops or like a water brush or something to like spread it around on the front, just making like a blob. It doesn't have to be like anything fancy. But I did realize that this ink sort of stains my tools. You can see it's sort of like pink, my tools, and you'll see later even my water brush suddenly gets like pinkish color. Like it starts out white, but then when I use it and then I dip in water and stuff, the water brush itself is still pinky. But this ink is just so interesting because it's when you write with it, it's almost like a gray type of ink, but when you add water, you get to see the purples and sometimes like greens and pinks as well. So I don't know, it's just such an interesting color. I think it's so, so pretty. So you can see now that the um, part that I stamped resists, and so it really shows up, and this will look even better like once it dries, and you can sort of like rub off the ink from the 2025 like numbers because like I said, it's sort of like a plasticky kind of shiny glossy material, so like you can use a tissue like and just buff it and the ink will come off of it, and only the background remain, and it'll be like that white sort of showing up. And in my case, it ended up being sort of like pink because, like I said, this ink sort of like stains white things a lot. So that was interesting. I obviously did not stamp very well because you can see the edges of like the stamp um, rectangle, on the sides, but maybe it adds to the whole aesthetic because it sort of turned out looking like sort of cool, like grungy. But yeah, in the end, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I'm also really happy that I was able to like combine different elements together in one thing. It's like my scrapbooking supplies and those things I learned when I was like into card making and stuff, with my fountain pen inks in my TN, accordion insert. And now I get to doodle every month and add like sort of a like art entry into this accordion insert so that at the end of the year I have like 12 panels. So I don't know why I haven't done in the past like more a combination of all the things because I like so many different crafty things. I don't know why I don't combine it, which brings to mind right now like I also like embroidery and I've done like embroidered illustrations before. It's like why don't I incorporate that as well? There's like no one that says that you can't do the mixed media thing. So yeah, I think that this is dry now, so I think it looks really cool, sort of like galaxy-ish. Um, and so I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. So I also want to show you the sketches that I already put in for the different months. I used a fountain pen just to like write the month letters, but basically I will fill in one month, and I already did like January to May, but I only inked January so far. I just realize now maybe I could paint things too, but I'm not. not all my fountain pen inks are waterproof, so you wouldn't be able to do that all the time. I was mainly more thinking of just inking the illustrations, sort of like the way that I doodle in my Midori Hibino. If you look at the monthly sketches, they're sort of like a culmination of like all the doodles that I did in my Midori Hibino, like at the end of the month, and then I'll be like, okay, which one did I like the most? Or which one do I want to pick, as my favorite doodle to expand on and ultimately add to this accordion insert and ink up. So really simple idea, and obviously you can do this with like any insert. It doesn't have to be an accordion insert. It's just that it's so perfect for like the 12 months. I just think it's really cool for like doing in 1 year. By the way, the paper in these accordion inserts take fountain pen really well. They're really thick, so there's no bleed through and I don't see any feathering, but the paper is a little rough to me. It has like texture. It's not like glassy smooth kind of thing when you want to like write with fountain pens. Because that type of paper will make your fountain pen like just glide across so smoothly, but this definitely has some like tooth to it. But yeah, that's what I have so far, and I'm just gonna keep it in this new red Passport TN, and that's what I'm doing here. Um, for this project, I'm just gonna do like one fountain pen color per panel, because color is my weakness. I'm not yet um, brave enough to do something different, I guess, but we'll see what happens when I ink them up because I don't know yet. But I just want to start simple. I don't want to overcomplicate things and make it difficult for me to like actually do the things. So this is what it is right now. This is January, and I believe this is Marley, the Diamine Marley ink. That's sort of like purpley. So that's what I did for January, which, by the way, this is supposed to be a daruma from Japanese culture that I just like made up myself. And I obviously have to erase my pencil marks, but I'm afraid it'll smear, so I'm just waiting like longer for things to dry before I actually erase the pencil marks. But that's what I have for my passport TN, and that's how I have it set up for now. Um, so I just want to thank you so much for sticking around and watching this amazingly long video of me unboxing my red TNs and setting up my accordion inserts for the standard and passport size. I am really happy to have like jumped into this and, you know, jumping back into my TNs in a sense, getting the red TNs sort of like I don't know. I guess they sort of like reinvigorated something. And I guess it's always like that, right? When you get something new, you dive in and want to use it. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate you being here. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I would love to say hello. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more stationery videos, please subscribe. I will be sharing more um, in the coming weeks. I wish you a very lovely day, and until next time, bye.